post-war jets. I've touched on this before, but it's pretty obvious that there's a lot to talk about regarding this time period, but I want to bring us back here just one more time and mention a very sought-after category of flight. But not just the speeds reached in those times, but the enigma that results of speed in its physical forms, a testament to trial and error, a great example of forced evolution. I personally consider it to be one of the most underrated, simple, yet most diverse airframes of all time. This is the Republic F-84 Thunderjet.
Moving like the speed of sound, feet can't keep on the ground.
Similar to the F-86 Sabre originating from the P-51, this aircraft originated from the P-47 Thunderbolt. We wanted a multi-role fighter that would mostly specialize in bomber escort and ground attack. It had a predictable yet good design for that time period. Straight wings, 50 caliber guns, and a slightly underpowered jet engine. Started off as the XB-84 Thunderjet. Had a pretty rough start, as did many of that time. As the U.S. Army Air Corps transitioned into the U.S. Air Force, they received this jet in December of 1947, but weren't too impressed as it was full of mechanical issues and had structural malfunctions while flying. But it served potential as the now F-84D entered service, had structural improvements, better engine, and ejection seats. As its role suggests, it proved itself to be a pretty formidable fighter and was very good for ground attack. While mostly outclassed in air combat, it still managed to shoot down 105 MiG-15s. As the Korean War progressed, it naturally leaned its way into its more destined ground attack role. But what did this have to do with speed? Remember how I said it was a really good design? Well, they ended up using this plane as a test bed. You see, as time went on, this plane would take a lot of forms. One of the most noticeable being the F-84F series, or just the Sweep Wing series. Now things are finally starting to take shape. As you know, the 1950s and 60s era was a huge time in development for the aviation industry in America. I'm sure you've heard whispers about the loudest plane in the world or some of the strangest looking planes in the world. Well, they were all built up from the same airframe. Now let's start with the loudest one, the XF-84 Thunder Screech. Say hi. Yeah, this plane was pretty loud. So loud, in fact, that it would send cracks through the concrete. The ground crew's eardrums would literally be bleeding. The intended name of this aircraft was the F-106, but they stuck with F-84H. This was supposed to be a supersonic prop fighter. Despite its audible inconvenience, this plane still ended up being the fastest prop-driven aircraft in the world. Not even earplugs can prevent the sound of 800 sonic booms per second from a 6,000 horsepower Allison. The plane was built for the Navy, but they obviously didn't want it. Needless to say, this is the last time we messed around with supersonic prop planes. Right, so next up is the XF-91 Thunderceptor. Elephant in the room, it's got 2 wheels on each main, but we'll save that for later. This was the first plane to break supersonic speeds in level flight. Do not get this confused with the Bell X-1 or X-15, which are rocket powered. On that note, this aircraft was rocket powered, and just when we thought we can get away from German designs in American early jets, you're wrong. In World War II, the Germans used the Me-163 as a rocket powered interceptor, and they also used rocket powered boosters on the Me-262. As the name suggests, this Thunderceptor was used to be as an interceptor. The rockets were used as a quick takeoff and was sort of just a hybrid mix of jet engine on the plane and rockets auxiliary. Cool, so let's talk about the wings. The subtle difference in the wing makes it appear as such that the wing is just completely flipped. In 1945, Republic discovered the tapered wing layout. What they're preventing is what you're seeing on screen here called the Sabre dance. This is what happened to the F-100 Super Sabre that happens to a lot of delta wing planes at slow speeds. When a delta wing aircraft is at a slow speed, the outer portion of the wing stalls and its center of lift is shifted significantly upwards. This causes a violent pitch in the plane, making it just sit on its tail so it'll eventually drop the wing, thus stalling. Basically, they increase the wing chord on the wingtips rather than on the inner part of the wing or the wing root. What they were going for here is a plane that will land a lot easier at slow speeds, so basically, essentially making a stall scenario a lot more forgiving for the pilot. The inner part of the wing or the wing root will be stalling first instead of the outside of the wing, which will actually result in a plane tipping over, which you don't want to happen. The larger wingtips also had the purpose to house the big landing gear so it would extend outwards. Another cool fact is that this plane had an adjustable angle of incidence on the wing. Basically, you can adjust the whole wing's angle at slow speeds, similar to the F-8 Crusader. I personally think the F-84 needs a lot more recognitions for its significance in the evolution of fighter jets. Of the over 86,000 missions flew in combat and the thousands of hours behind its development, this aircraft is truly a piece of revolutionary aviation history. I hope y'all enjoyed this video or learned something, or both. If there's any plane you want to hear me talk about next, then please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.